Rich, appreciate you coming through.
Thank you, Tim. I love what you do here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Looking in the comments, you're donating money, not buying a Bible, says Diana in Texas. That is true. That is true. But $60, I mean, still some of the, if you want to see it as a donation, which it actually is, go with that. Don't be on TV talking about you want to make prayer great again. I mean, because there are folks who may want the Bible that can't afford $60 a pop. Can you sell a cheaper version? I mean, can you do that? Or is it all about you profiting to help out in your court cases and things like that? And I will say this before I move the program on. Trump absolutely needs to win. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of rubble behind with the Republican Party. Here's what I'm talking about. If Trump doesn't win, all of the lower ballot, down ballot Republicans, senators, Congress, all these folks, they're going to be bitching in mass because that money could have went to help senators, Republican Congress folks, Republican governors, all of that RNC funding that's going to Trump and his legal fees. There's a hell of a lot of Republican down ballot politicians that could really use some finances in terms of their political campaigns. Like all of the money is going to Trump. That one guy is siphoning off all of the Republican funding right now. He absolutely needs to win. If he doesn't win, he's taking down a lot of people with him. You're going to have a hell of a lot of down ballot Republicans saying Trump is the reason I lost too, because I couldn't get money for ads, commercials, radio time, because it was all going to pay his legal fees. They're really, really betting it all on Trump. So he absolutely needs to win. And even if he does win, there's going to be a hell of a lot of Republican senators and Congress folks saying exactly what I just stated, that they would have had a really good chance of winning their race if they could have accessed any of the money that was going to pay all of Trump's legal fees. Oddly enough, what really seems egregious about it is these Congress, senators, city council folks that could use some of that money, a lot of them are average, everyday, struggling people. Meanwhile, Trump is going around bragging that he's worth billions in his own bank account. And his money is sitting there while the RNC funding is going to help him, as opposed to all these other folks who desperately need the money. How does that look? That he is bragging that he's worth billions and he's not using any of his own money to pay his legal fees, but some struggling congressperson or some struggling senator that wants to make America great as a Republican congressperson or Republican senator can't get access to the money because it's going to President Trump. Does that look right? I mean, is that not something to question if you are on the Republican side of the aisle? I mean, Trump can't do it alone. Those senators and Congress folks need to win as well. Even if Trump wins, he can't do it alone. The country's not set up that way, unless you want a dictator. Going back to the box, continuing on with user, I can't pronounce the rest of that. Good at Republicans are gone. Yeah, some have said that. Good afternoon, user. What is the rest of that name there?
Jill Urban.
Okay, Jill Urban.
I don't know why that got in. I don't know how I did that, but anyway. Okay. Trump doesn't own those Bibles. He's just endorsing these people, just like the tennis shoes. Anyway, also, I want to tell you, the Democrats, okay, they're all the time saying that Trump is a threat to democracy. Sure not. What about them?
Wait, repeat that. I saw the hat and mustache. Marcus, thank you. You said the Democrats what?
Are always saying that Trump is a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your point?
What about that? Well, because you said something about them saying that Trump, it's bad that Trump says that about them being a threat to democracy, these judges and stuff, because they are, I'm telling you, they're corrupt. You know, why can't it be a nonpartisan? Why does it have to be Democrats judging this man? Democrat Attorney General. Why does it got to be General? You know what I'm saying? Why does it got to be Democrats? All Democrats judging this man.
Let me respond to that. And DJ Neil Freestyle, in regards to that comment, you have to send me an email. It's on the page. It's certainly on my YouTube page as well. I'd be interested in that. In regards to why does it have to be a Democrat judge? Why can't it be, somebody who's bipartisan? I think just about all judges, Jill Urban, are involved in politics. I don't think there's any such, because they get elected. They get elected to office. So finding an unbiased judge, I don't think that's possible.
Well, that shouldn't be. They shouldn't have nothing to do with politics if they're going to be going into office. To those positions, okay? Because they're judging people and they're getting their pockets padded big time.
But that falls under the category.
Wait a minute. Let me talk. What was her name? Loretta or Legetta, whatever her name is, the DA. While she was running, what did she vow to do to Trump? What did she vow? Did you see all them videos where she was vowing to get him? Vote me in. We're going to get him. We're going to sink him. We're going to get him for everything he's done. Really? You want to be judged by someone like that? You want someone in office?
But that's not unusual. Just like what I mention this all the time. The judge in Nevada promised after O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of a crime that everybody believes he did, there was a judge in Nevada that promised the exact same thing. If she got elected, she would go after O.J. Simpson. And she ultimately did put O.J. Simpson in jail for like 9 years on what everybody believes is trumped up charges. The exact same thing happened to him. President Trump also...
No. He arm robbed somebody.
No, he did not. No, he...
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He went after, he said it was his property, and he arm robbed them people. Come on, look it up. Tell me you do not know that.
Okay, let me respond to you by saying this. The two guys who walked in with the guns didn't get anywhere near the time that O.J. Simpson did. O.J. Simpson gets 9 years, and the guys who actually are holding the guns don't get a fraction of that? Is that what you're telling me?
He's the one that hired him to do it. He said they stole his stuff, and he was going to get it back, and they were going to get paid.
Okay.
So he was ahead of it. Anyway, let's move on.
No. Let's go with what you said. Let's go with what you said. A judge promised to go after someone. That's what that judge did. Even if you think it's a legitimate sentence for O.J. Simpson, she ran on a promise to go after the guy. Nobody complained about that.
If she did, then no, she should have been pulled off the case. No, she should have been pulled off the case. Okay? If she did and they could have proved that, no, she should have not have been able to judge that man. Okay?
What about Trump? What about Trump promising to go after Hillary Clinton if he got elected? Was that wrong to do that?
Hey, they're going after him. I give him free reign, buddy. What they've done to this man, are you kidding me? What they've done to him to try to keep him out of office? You all ain't got your eyes open. You all are spiritually eyes are closed. You know they wasn't bothering Trump until he turned on them. They were all buddies. You want to see all the pictures where they're friends? He went to Hillary Clinton's wedding, everything. When he found out all their corruption and how they were selling America off to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, that's when he said, I got to step in. I got to.
Then why did he do anything? Wait, hold on. Hang on. Trump got elected. Okay, fine. Trump got elected. He was in charge. He had a Republican Senate and Congress when he got elected. If Hillary
Clinton. Wait a minute. It doesn't just because he had a Republican Senate, that doesn't mean it. Look at the ones that are against him because, remember, he said, I'm going after you too. I'm going after my own party because of what you all done. Okay? Did you not hear that? Did you not hear it? He said, I'm not just going after the Democrats and liberals. I'm coming after you, my own party.
How successful, if you're saying he promised to go after everybody, how successful was he? Who did he get rid of?
Well, don't you know? Okay, he's one man, and now you got to understand, he wasn't a politician. Okay, he wasn't polished, so he had some backstabbers. Okay, and I don't know if you remember a long time ago. I think it was with Oprah Winfrey. She said, "You're president material." He goes, She goes, "Would you ever run?" He goes, "I hope I wouldn't have to, Oprah, but I might someday." And then he went on and was talking. He said, "You know what? I got a lot of people I don't know that I can trust. I hope I can, but I would like to lose everything one day just to see who really is with me."
But you're not answering the question, Jill. Okay. Who did Trump? He promised to drain the swamp. Who got drained?
Nobody did, because it got worse, because the Democrats came after him harder with trumped up charges. They're like, oh crap, he's coming after us. Everything we did, blame it on Trump. He's got it all day. Let me tell you, it's coming out. It's coming out. He's got. Why do you think he failed to put $200 billion in or whatever it was into Gitmo? He said he had to expand it because, my goodness, this goes clear across the world. Because
Wait a minute. He put $200 billion into Gitmo. What are you saying? He's going to put prisoners in there?
Well, yeah. What he knows and has proof on, yes. Some of the corruption, not just the Democrats, not just liberals, Republicans too. They're going to Gitmo, but they're not going down without a fight. Okay? They're not going down without a fight. Now, why do you think Biden opened that border? and invited, come on in. Everybody. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you free this. And they're taking, now they've even got companies firing what was it, 300 people closing down a plant just to turn around and hire illegals. Illegals, dude.
Here's what I don't understand, Jill. You suggested that the reason Trump didn't drain the swamp the first time is because the liberals was trying to prevent him, and it was too many people.
No, they come at him because he had too much on him. There wasn't enough of the good guys.
So what makes you think? Wait, hang on. You're throwing too much out there. So if he couldn't do it based on what you're saying the first time, what's making you think he'd be successful the second time?
Okay, here's what I think. Here's what I'm going to tell you what I think. I think the good Lord allowed it to happen because we've been all spiritually blinded for hundreds of years, okay? They've enslaved us all these years by taxing us to death. And while those at the top are living it up and they're just criminals. They'll get their money any way they can. And if you don't like what they say or do, you're gone, okay?
You're not answering the question, though. Jill, you're not answering. What makes you think he'll be more successful this time?
Because now, okay, I read prophecy, okay? Okay, God takes down kings and he sets them back up. I think he took Trump out, allowed Trump to get taken out for a time, okay? Now, I believe that if this ain't it, maybe God's done with us, okay? Maybe because there's a lot of judging going on, I believe. But I also believe maybe God, because he's a merciful God, he might give us one more chance. Talks about at the last Trump. This might be our last chance for everybody to get their eyes on God, okay? Wow. And Trump, I believe he's going to put Trump back in to fix America, because this prophet has said that God is hearing our prayers. He said, if we will turn from our wicked ways, okay? Turn from our wicked ways, he will hear our prayers and heal our land. And there's a lot of people praying, dude, for this country. So that's the only reason. If Trump, I'm hoping he'll give us one more chance and have mercy and put Trump back in. But at some point, as somebody else said, though, it says at the last Trump. So they're thinking maybe another Trump will get in and another Trump will get in. You know what I mean? Okay. One of his sons. And then
I do have to move it on, but I want to ask you one last question. As you mentioned, God has been protecting us. And I went to a Trump rally myself about 4 months ago, and I had another individual in line, MAGA, no problem with that, told me that God appointed Trump. Do you believe Trump was given to us by God himself?
I do believe that. He leads and guides. You guys, let me tell you something. Okay, when it says when trumpets sound, okay, I was always thinking, Lord, how's everybody in the world going to hear your trumpets? Are you going to blow it from heaven? Okay, everything is only in for a time. Remember that. It's only in for a time. Who did he put with Trump at first to expose him? Who did he put with Trump? And say it real fast. Their last names. Who is Trump's vice president?
Mike Pence.
Last name. Just say last name.
Pence.
That's right. Trumpets. They were on the world stage. Boom. He let them being taken down. Look at all the stuff's coming out on Mike Pence. Oh, I feel the Holy Spirit. Thank you, Lord.
All right.
Okay.
Wow. Now, I got to move it on. I have to move it on.
You just at the border. Wait a minute.
Real quick. I'm going to give you a quick 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, you brought the border bill up, and you said, now, okay, Trump is the one that started that, building the wall, and trying to get that straightened out. He had it under control. The Democrats and Biden was all against it. As soon as Biden got in, he opened it up to the whole wide world. Now he admits, right before the election, oh, there is a crisis at the border. But
You should have started with that, Jill. You should have started with that.
Republicans won't fix it. The reason they won't because of the other stuff in the bill, dude. Get the truth out. The other stuff in the bill, not just the border, baby. Come on now, get the truth, all of it out, not just bits and pieces.
All right, Jill. I gotta go. I gotta go. Thank you, Jill. Wow, folks, that was certainly Jill. There. What do you think? So I will say, I'm not a fan of how Biden has handled the border. I've said that numerous times. 3 years of saying there was no problem at the border. Then he comes up, suggesting that they passed this border bill. Now, she stated that the reason they didn't pass the bill is because of all the other stuff that's in it. Excuse me. Here's my issue. When you sit down to negotiate, I'm talking left and right, you come up with something where you get a little something, I get a little something. In my opinion, it sounds like the Republicans are basically saying, we want a border bill that gives everything to us and nothing to you. Perhaps the funding for the Ukraine, Israel, that's what the liberals wanted. The Republicans wanted zero access to America, completely close down the border until we get folks out, things like that. But it sounds like the Republicans who actually worked on the bill made some concessions to Democrats. Democrats obviously made some concessions to Republicans. Trump got involved and stated, I don't want anything to be solved until I get back in office, and smashed it all. But yeah, the idea that, the bill was terrible and things like that, you're not going to get everything in it on your side and nothing on, then that's not a negotiation. That's a my way or the highway mentality. But nevertheless, we'll see what happens. But I do believe if you believe the border is a mess and needs to be fixed immediately, shooting down the border bill was not the best idea. There were some things in that bill that would limit the access to the country. By leaving it as is, you're pretty much saying the next 10 months, I'm okay with that. Trump would not become president and have actual power till January of 2025. So from now until then, it is what it is. All right, tap the screen. 1,200 of you folks in here on YouTube. I don't know, on TikTok. I don't know why my YouTube side has been so poor. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but certainly for my few viewers on YouTube, smash that like button, by the way. And we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going on YouTube, but looking in the comments, that bill was a Trojan horse. Then why did so many Republicans agree to it? Trump practically runs a YouTube live channel and is just trolling Americans. He's good at it. He's really good at it. Because folks, listen, and I'll go back to the box, but we talk about Trump quite often, and folks, but why don't you talk about Biden? Or you got Trump derangement syndrome. Fact is, Trump wants people to talk about Trump. Otherwise, he wouldn't say things that are so controversial. Biden has a State of the Union address. Trump decides to throw something on the same day. I think it was with Tucker Carlson or something like that. They had the debates, the Republican debates, when all 9 of them were there. Every time they had a debate, Trump had a counter program or counter event to draw people from watching the Republican debate. So the idea that people have Trump derangement syndrome is ridiculous. Trump himself is trying to put himself in the spotlight. He is doing that. If you expect a former president to behave in a manner of Trump and nobody say anything, you're living in la la land. He wants to be talked about. Unfortunately, my beloved MAGA only wants him to be talked about positively. But he does want you talking about him. He's doing that deliberately. So it leads to people talking. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. It's responding to the things he's saying and doing. He didn't need to host events while the State of the Union address or the Republican National Convention was going. He's doing that intentionally. So perhaps maybe he also has some form of either Biden or political derangement syndrome. Perhaps he just wants to be a popularity hound. I don't know, but he's doing it on his own. You're making a lot of open-end statements. Answer the question, says Buck Stir. I don't know what the question is, and you could have put it where you put that statement, and I would have answered it. I'm a registered Republican, brother. We have lost every race from 2016. It's time for a change, says Anthony. Well, unfortunately, if you're a registered Republican, you'll soon be viewed as a rhino. You should be calling yourself MAGA. If you are a registered Republican, there's not a lot of stomach for you on the right side of the aisle anymore. They want you to be MAGA. So the idea that you want someone else other than Trump, Nikki Haley types, you know, the Chris Christie type. Thank you for the hat there. I didn't see the name. I saw one, but thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. So yeah, until the Republican Party comes back together, it essentially is MAGA versus never Trumpers or rhinos or whatever they call them. So the idea that you want the Republican Party to be victorious, but you want to move on from Trump because he's costing you elections, then you're going to be viewed as a never Trumper until Trump is no longer in the running. And that is what's happening, by the way. Whether it's the midterms, I believe, okay, Trump lost in 2020. I know a lot of you disagree, but the records say Trump lost in 2020. The midterms in 2022 were not great by any means at all in terms of the red wave that didn't happen. And then there were some after races, whether it's replacing George Santos or some of this other stuff like what just happened in Alabama. Yeah, the Republicans are losing races, even though the polls say otherwise. You saw what happened when they put abortion on the ballot in Kansas and Ohio. There's not a lot of winning victories for the Republican Party since Trump won in 2016. Even in 2018, the midterms were not good. So 2018, 2020, 2022, and even some of these, like I stated, abortion ballots where they're allowed to vote on abortion, those weren't good in 2023. So, the Republican Party is losing elections despite what the polls say or the love for President Trump. What's actually happening is not looking good for the Republican Party. I'm just waiting on Jesus, says Mama 84. You're waiting on Jesus. I remember my grandma, man, God rest her soul, passed away in the early 90s. She was waiting on Jesus also. She told me we're living in the last days. I mean, she's been gone 30 years. So if she was still here, I think she would be still waiting on Jesus. Going back to the box, though, good luck in the wait. We'll continue moving on with beard and politics. Trump facing a gag order. Is that limiting his free speech? Should the man be able to talk? Beard and politics. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. The gag order, is that violating Trump's First Amendment free speech rights?
No. So all that the First Amendment says is that, you can say what you like and they're going to knock down your door for it, right? It gives us the ability to protest against. To say, I think a lot of people want to use the First Amendment as having the right to say whatever you want and not have consequences.
Yeah. So, when he believes the courts are out to get him, and he's not in court, he shouldn't be able to go online and say that?
No. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, listening to some of the people in here is insane sometimes. It's part of why I love your show. But a lot of these guys kind of seem to think that he should be able to say whatever he likes, yeah. And then if people respond to that negatively and go after the people he's talking about, like somehow that's not his fault. Like that's not how that works.
Yeah. And I agree with you, and I've said it numerous times on the program that his words do cause people to act, but they're going to point to, Democrats going out in front of Kavanaugh's house or, Maxine Waters saying get up in people's face. I mean, it happens on the left side as well, and they don't seem to be scrutinized to the level of President Trump. It's Trump being treated unfairly compared to liberals.
I don't think so at all. So I am definitely to Biden's left. Like, I'm very openly a socialist myself, right? And I mean, I was just with a group a couple of weeks ago protesting against Joe Biden and his continued support for the state of Israel and whatnot with the whole Palestinian genocide and whatnot, right? So definitely, like, people are just kind of picking and choosing what they want to be mad about here, I feel like, because it's not like Biden isn't getting scrutiny from the left. Like I am somebody.
Wait, let me ask you that, because now you're talking about you yourself identifies as a socialist and you're going after Biden for Netanyahu's genocide. Would you prefer Trump?
Oh, hell no, hell no. Here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, no matter how much I hate Joe Biden, and believe me, I hate Joe Biden, Joe Biden is a milquetoast liberal, and the thing is, when I'm voting for the president right now, I can't pay attention. Well, don't get me wrong, I am paying attention, obviously, but I can't care about as much what's going on overseas when I know that the threat domestically is so much greater for us in the short term, right? So, I mean, I could be mad about Israel and whatnot, right? But is Donald Trump going to stop aid to Israel? Hell no. He's probably going to up it, you know? His plan to deal with...
So if it comes down to Trump versus Biden, will you sit out or are you going to vote for Biden?
Oh, I'm a proponent of voting for Biden in this situation, right? Because at the end of the day, Biden's brand of milquetoast liberalism is better for the country than the very open fascism that is represented in Donald Trump and the current GOP.
So why do you say Trump is a fascist?
I don't think Trump is a fascist. I think he's a caveat for fascism. I think that fascists use Donald Trump, and since they clap the loudest for him, those are the people that he appeals to. Because Trump will do anything for the people that clap the loudest for him.
Yeah, you sound like some of my guests who often say that Trump is not a racist, but he'll deal with racists because they help vote for him or something like that. You almost sound like...
I think he's a racist, but like I get what you're getting at.
You do think Trump is a racist. Why you say that?
Just the way that he kind of goes about, like, how he'll, like, treat people in the context of how he uses his words, right? Like, he seems to use... So, like, for example, he uses black people as a signifier to be like, hey, look at me, right? Like, I definitely have your best interests at heart, right? But then when you talk about policies that would actually go about helping black people and whatnot, he isn't listening to those voices. He's kind of just... He wants pick-me's, more or less, right? To get people behind him, to get people...
So it's just lip... So you believe it's just lip service?
It's 100% lip service.
And by the way, Big Bert, I just want to thank Big Bert for that. Thank you for that graphic. Very, very kind of appreciate that, Big Bert. That didn't go unnoticed. So you mentioned at the start of the program there, Beard and Politics, that you're a social... Do you think socialism is good for America?
I think that... So in my opinion... now, I'm a sociologist as well. I think that society, as we move further and further towards a post-industrial society, socialism is an inevitability. But we have a choice. And if the country doesn't make that move towards socialism, we are heading towards being another failed state.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty... I mean, how bad do you think we're doing where we got to... When you say socialism... Give me an example. Big Bert with the guitar, thank you. When you say we're headed towards socialism, I mean, because you say we're post-industrial, what is it? Because automation is going to take over, so you just got to get people some type of monthly stipend or something?
Well, so partially automation is like a big pusher of it, right? Automation, AI, things like that. We see people's jobs being replaced every single day by machinery, by AI algorithms, things like that. And at a certain point, you know, we have all these people that are being pushed out of certain industries. There's only so much room in these other industries. So yeah, at a certain point, you know, I do believe in a certain kind of UBI or whatever. But when I say that I'm a socialist, like, I'm not a Stalinist. I'm not looking for a command economy, anything like that. But I definitely do think that certain things need to be removed from the free market, such as housing and healthcare, things like that. So I'm a proponent of a middle ground transitional state where, have you ever heard of like market socialism or libertarian socialism? Because that's basically where I'm sitting.
I'm going to say that that's above my knowledge. I don't know all of the different variable types of socialism, but I know in a capitalist country, people don't want to be forced to take care of other people. I think it's going to be real hard to do that here.
Well, I mean, we kind of already do that, though, don't we? Like, we have all these social welfare programs, and you can argue and debate about, how well those social welfare programs are going, but we have them, and we see where they are successful, and then we make budget cuts, and then they become...
I think my last caller had a call.
Hello?
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I had a battery notification.
Okay, all right. Well, we're moving on, but certainly, I know during the 2016 election, Bernie Sanders was bringing up socialism, and we've seen how awful he was treated because of that. And certainly they even tried to tie Obama to being a socialist. This country doesn't seem to have a huge stomach for socialism. Even if you believe it's better for the country or would be better, it seems like there's too many detractors for that to ever take footing.
Well, so I'll disagree with you there, because even people that are like avidly, like staunchly against socialism, I think that they're starving for it, and they just don't know what it is because they've been fed, 50 plus years of Cold War propaganda.
Give me an example of a country that's doing it successfully.
Well, so you're going to laugh at this a little bit, but I think that as far as like the programs that have been successful, like we can point at Cuba as being somewhere where socialism, despite everything that America has done to Cuba, we have been embargoing and sanctioning them forever and ever. And the UN keeps saying, hey, America, you're committing human rights violations. If America wasn't doing what we're doing, Cuba would be a successful socialist state.
Well, obviously, because of what we are doing, it's hard to really argue with you on that, because we pretty much got them driving around in 1950s cars and shit. So
check out Rojava as well. Rojava being the rebels fighting against the current capitalist Syrian government. They have higher quality of living, they have better equality, and they are a very outwardly socialist faction of Syria. And they currently, I would say, are classified as a successful socialist state. Now, are they prone to violence? Yes, but it's because they are being attacked at all times. And that's kind of been the case of a lot of historical socialist states where they had everything going for them. They could have done what they wanted to do, but because America, because Europe, because all these other capitalist states were coming at them, they had to defend themselves.
All right. I don't know if we ever see it in our lifetime, but I do got to move it on, Beard and Politics. That is way far to the left. I would agree with you. You're considerably left of President Biden. But anytime, come on back to it.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been a great conversation.
You too. Thank you. Moving the program on. Now, my last caller talked about you can't expect to speak without consequences, because we're talking about President Trump's gag order in the Alvin Bragg case. Now, Trump doesn't go to court until April 15th, tax day. That's when this whole trial over paying off Stormy Daniels with campaign funds, that's what he's being charged with. All of this starts to culminate on April 15th. But Trump is already on social media saying bad things about the judge, bad things about the prosecutor, bad things about the judge's daughter. The judge issued a gag order trying to stop President Trump from doing this stuff. The whole purpose of this live stream today is to ask, is that a violation of Trump's First Amendment free speech rights? Should he be able to stay on social media and criticize the hell out of the judge? By the way, before we go back to the boxing, thank you folks who tapping the screen. Certainly we're getting close to 100,000 likes. I do appreciate that. I always enjoy, or certainly appreciate you getting your boy up to 6 figures. It helps out the algorithm. So certainly tap the screen, get the over 1,000 of you in here. But what I want to ask is this. Trump undoubtedly believes the justice system is out to get him, believes that the judges, wow, Megan with the teddy, thank you, appreciate that, thank you, that was beautiful, thank you. Trump undoubtedly believes that the courts are out to get him, that the justice system is engaging in a witch hunt after him. But in this case with Alvin Bragg, he's attacked the judge before the case even began. What I want to ask is, even if you are a strong Trump supporter, and there's nothing wrong with supporting either candidate if that's what you believe has the best vision for America, does it make sense to attack your judge on your case before the case begins, because Trump is saying, look, the courts are biased against me and things like that. If you had a court case coming up and you were all over social media attacking the judge and the judge knew about it, do you believe you would still receive fair treatment in court? Or do you think that might bias the judge against you, that you're already calling the judge a piece of shit before the case begins? Why would he do that? Going back to the box, I understand some folks believe he should be allowed to do that, but why would you do that and then complain that you didn't get treated fairly? The case has not begun. Remember, we're talking about being biased versus being unbiased. Is Trump not being biased against the judge? Remember, Trump stated, they didn't give me a chance from day one. Is he not giving that judge a chance to be fair and impartial from day one? He's already criticizing the judge and the case has not even begun. So I'd like to get your opinion on that, but continuing to move on, we've seen that King was in the holding there. Thank you, King, for holding on. Looks like King dropped down. I don't know what happened there, but we'll go straight to UDK. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Can you hear me? Are you there?
Yep.
Okay, so Trump, free speech. Do you believe what they're doing with a gag order is violating that man's First Amendment rights?
No, kind of like the last guy. You get the right to freedom of speech, but it doesn't say you can say whatever you want. Like, there's laws against incriminating people, disparaging people. There's anti-bullying laws even, so you can say whatever you want, but you're not protected from the consequences.
Yeah.
But the First Amendment also gives you the right to remain silent.
Yeah, it does. That is true.
I think it's only more beneficial for him to be quiet, because if you're his lawyer or his PR team, you have a heck of a time trying to clean up everything and backtracking his statements. But I don't feel like it's a violation of his rights.
But why does he keep doing it? Like, for instance, when Letitia James was pursuing him and he had to pay over, he's greatly reduced, but at first he was due to come up with like 500 million, and his lawyers had told the courts it would be impossible for him to come up with such a large sum so quickly. And then he gets out, basically, I got the money, I just don't want to pay it because it's going to my campaign. Why does he do stuff like that?
So, I think because he really feels like he's sort of untouchable. You know how you're like you're in church, you don't say certain things around certain people, you don't maybe bring up politics, you're not going to be swearing around the pastor, but then when you're with your buddies, you're more comfortable, you're saying more opinionated things. I think he's gotten so comfortable with doing and saying anything he wants because all he's getting is praise and no criticism, that he just feels like he can say whatever he wants whenever he wants, regardless of consequence.
So what about the notion that he claims that it's a witch hunt, that they're trying to prevent him from being president again, and this is just all a big case of election interference? Do you think there's any validity to that?
I don't think it's necessarily election interference. He did bring a lot of it on himself, but I think a lot of it is, some of it, I think they're probably going after him because they don't want him president, like not a lot of people do, but they're doing the same thing to Biden as well. They've been 15 months in debating whether they're going to impeach him or not. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's on both sides. They do it either way. But I don't think it's necessarily a witch hunt, because he does kind of instigate it. Yeah. Himself by saying everything that he does.
Why do you think it is that you see that, but I would never be to get any MAGA to come on here and say, which they would vehemently disagree with you, that Trump is not instigating anything, it's that he's defending himself from all of this. Why do you think they have such a different view than someone like yourself?
I mean, there's a reason why dictators and the guy who made the Kool-Aid got people to follow them. I just think they're more gullible. When something is your whole core belief, when you're following a president like he's your favorite football team, you're getting tattoos and stuff on you, you can't, that can't be wrong.
Now, wait a minute. You said like your favorite football team and getting tattoos. You don't think anybody put a Trump tattoo on their body, do you?
Oh, they have. Look it up on the internet. There's a ton of people who have Trump tattoos. It's ridiculous.
I mean, at best, he can only, unless something happens with democracy, at best, he can only do 4 more years in office. I mean, listen, I understand some folks favor Trump's economy or the direction Trump was taking his country in, but was it that great that you would put a permanent stamp of ink on your body?
Not me, but there are a lot of people who have, a lot of people, and most of them are not very well drawn.
So you got a 77, 78-year-old dude on your body, and you didn't even do a good job drawing that dude? That's got to be really bad.
Look it up on the internet when you're done with the live. It's interesting.
Wow, I've never heard of a Trump stamp. Okay, that's news to me. That's news to me.
As far as when you believe something, like even when football teams don't win, they have whole riots in the streets. And I think that if you believe something so strongly, there's nothing wrong it can do. They can't be wrong. It has to win. It has to go. So they believe like it's basically their person, that they are going to be right. They're going to be winning. And I think it's going to, if he doesn't win, it's going to be chaos.
So you're suggesting that if Trump doesn't win, there could be violence?
They have said so on Truth Social.
Wow. Why though?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just like with the Trump tattoo, what is it about Trump that would lead folks to, I mean, like I said, it's 4 years max unless something else is going on, but he's going to be in office for 4 years. Was America really that great that you die to have that back again?
I don't think it was any worse off now than it is. Well, I don't think it's necessarily worse under one versus the other, but I don't think he can bring it around any better like they think so either. And then he likes to stand on drain the swamp, but he's had 8 years since he first said it to do anything about it, and he's not doing anything but holding information he supposedly has for votes.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll drain the swamp if you vote for me. But, he's had a whole 8 years. He could be doing it the whole time.
So what you're saying is that if he really wanted to drain the swamp, he would tell folks what he has for the good of the country, as opposed to holding it back so he can win presidency again.
For sure, I think so. Yeah. I mean, if I knew that people were doing some bad things with kids like that, I'm not going to be like, well, vote for me first. Wow. I'm going to be like, look at this guy here.
So is there any chance you might vote for him again?
I didn't vote for him in the first place. Last election, I voted for Jorgensen.
Oh.
But,
Kennedy?
Generally, what's that?
Kennedy look good? You choosing Kennedy, perhaps?
No, I think the most popular vote right now would be anti-Trump, which I'm not really for Biden or Trump, but this election I probably will do Biden, not just so that it's a block for Trump.
Wow. So not in favor of Biden, but you're going to support Biden because you think Trump is just that bad.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, he's already said he wants to get rid of birthrights. I don't think he can do anything about the border crisis. I think the whole border crisis is just a standpoint, too. If they wanted to honestly do something about the border, they would change how the system works to get people into the border and the entry questions and all of that.
When you say get rid of birthrights, what do you mean? Like anchor babies or whatever they call them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you believe that if someone comes in this country, let's say they're here illegally, and they give birth, do you think that child should be a citizen of this country?
I do.
Okay.
But I also don't think that it should be as hard as it is to get into the country legally. There's people, when I was younger, I grew up, my friend was an anchor baby, and her parents paid $10,000 to get here.
Wow.
And if paying $10,000 is easier and going through the desert and, with the coyotes and possibly being unalived in the desert is easier than entering through the border legally, then I feel like there's some major problem.
Yeah, you're not the only one that feels that way. I think even a lot of folks on the right even though they want you to come here legally, believe that they should make it a little bit, fast track the system to come here the right way, because both sides realize it does take hell and high water to come here legally. But I do got to move it on, though, UDK.
Sure. The only thing, last election, I didn't vote for either of them because they have both of them have real big, I have a black friend energy. And I can't handle that from them.
All right, so you see a little bit of racism in both Trump and Biden?
Oh, for sure, sure.
Anyone got a little bit more than the other? You think maybe Biden with the vote for me and you ain't black is a little bit worse?
From what I've seen, a lot of the people who are openly KKK are voting for Trump, and I just have a real hard time voting on the same side as them.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they're supporting him?
I think because whether he says he's racist or not, I think anybody born and has been in politics since before segregation was out of the schools has a hard time not being racist, honestly.
Wow.
Like, I feel like if you're white and grown up in that and it's what you knew from childhood, I don't think you can completely get away from it.
That's a good point, Al, because I got my own little personal story I'll tell on the other side, but I appreciate you coming on, UDK. Come on back through anytime. You're welcome. And what she was talking about, if you're born in a certain environment, it's hard to get it out of you. I myself am guilty of that, and I'll tell you what I mean. In other words, she's talking about, look, you're an old white guy like Biden or Trump, born in the 40s, 50s, during a time when America was very racist. It's hard to get that out of your system. I do believe there's some validity to it, and I'll tell you from my own self, my own story, being born in the 70s like me, there was a hell of a lot of anti-LGBTQ. That was the sentiment. Locker room talk was anti-gay as hell. And for folks that are in my age category, particularly the alpha males, it's hard to get that out of your system. It really is. So I do kind of agree with that if you're born one way, what do they say, hard to teach an old dog new tricks. A lot of folks, particularly the African-American community, rap music, for instance, hip-hop, is anti-gay as hell. So I totally agree with her that once you're born one way, and that's the common sentiment, it is difficult to get that out of your system. And I use, my own background, whereas being anti-LGBTQ, we made gay jokes, used the F word all the time. All the time we used it. It was common. Just like Biden or Trump may have used the N-word. We use it all the time. So I totally understand. Even though I know it is now wrong, I don't favor it. I am absolutely an ally to the LGBT community. I do, openly admit that's how we grew up. That was the norm. You catch like a girl, you throw like a P-U-S-S. That's how we talked. That is how we talked. It was anti-gay and, what do you want to call it? Pro-man, whatever the hell you want in there. And I know on the liberal side, that stuff is now viewed as awful. On the Republican side, well, shit, you're doing the right way, traditional America. So it is a little bit of a difference. What I want to do before I go back to the box, by the way, tap the screen, get your boy on up to about 110, still over 1,000 of you in here. It can be any damn where you want to be. It's a pleasure having you here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. This is an open forum, left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with QAnon. Program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. I just want to see folks in the comments. If you agree with what I'm saying, type me, M-E. How many of you folks, obviously talking to folks who are not MAGA in this case, type me if this is you. I don't like Biden worth a damn. But I voted for him and am going to vote for him to spoil President Trump. How many folks are viewing the program, like my last caller, that are going to vote like that? You're not a Biden fan, but you're so damn against Trump, you're never in hell going to see Trump win, so you'll just vote the other way to spoil him. Wow. Now on TikTok, it's almost unanimous. Wow. Why is there such a hatred for President Trump? Yikes. Looking in the comments, the KKK is just another boogeyman the Democrats invented to keep people in control. Because we already know written in our history is a group of mafia that wiped out 90% of them. There's no way I'm gonna go with the KKK as a boogeyman. I know they have been dilapidated since the 1950s and 60s, but they're not just a boogeyman. There's no way I'm going to believe that. The issue with the KKK is simple. It's always been about secrecy and confidentiality. We can talk about Black Lives Matter and riot they don't hide their faces anywhere near to the level of KKK or white supremacists or whatever you want to name it. It's a difference in how they do it. So you will have Black Lives Matter if you want to even put them in the same category, because I don't, but they do tell you who they are. You catch a KKK member in the street, they'll deny they're even part of it. So how can you call them a boogeyman if you don't know what the membership even is, because everybody's lying about whether they are a member or not? So there's no way you can call it a boogeyman. You don't know what the membership numbers are. Nobody will admit it. It's kind of like Fight Club. Racism is like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club. Going back to the box, they're real as hell in prison, says Vic Paris. Well, I know the, what do they call them, Aryans or Aryan Brotherhood or something, but the KKK in prison? Really? Biden is part of the Triple K. He loves Triple K. Robert Byrd was his best friend. Before I go to the next caller, let me just say this, because this comes up all the time. It is practically a Republican talking point or MAGA talking point about Biden and Senator Byrd. Before I go to that, hang on a second too, Name Barber. Thank you for that super chat. I will discuss that in a second. Senator Byrd, former member of the KKK, Biden did affiliate with the guy. There's no denying that. You will hear that. There's pictures of them together, things like that, riding around in cars and shit together. Folks point that out to suggest that Biden is racist because he hung around a KKK member. What they don't tell you is that before Senator Byrd passed away in 2013, I think it was, he had changed his life. The NAACP were in, I want to say, French partnership with Senator Byrd. Jesse Jackson and Obama was at his funeral. They don't bring any of that up. Senator Byrd had restored his image and had made up with the black community to some degree, denounced his white supremacist past, and as I just stated, civil rights leaders in the black community were in contact, associating with the guy. None of that comes up. They chop it off where he was a member of the KKK, they attach Biden onto it, and they leave it at that. There's a lot of affiliation of Senator Byrd with the African-American community and causes. That needs to be brought up. Otherwise, what do we always say about Trump? You're talking out of context. Let me hear the whole video. I need to hear all of the speech. If you're bringing up Senator Byrd, you're doing the exact same thing. There's a hell of a lot more information on Senator Byrd that Biden's detractors are not telling you. And it's easy to do the research on it. It is easy. In fact, I believe either Jesse Jackson or Obama eulogized Senator Byrd at his funeral. None of that comes up. None of it. Says he was hanging around a KKK member. That's not the whole story. That is not the whole story. Real quick on YouTube, thank you for that super chat, Naeem Barber, certainly a friend of the program. I'm trying to figure out why I want to. Now, what he was stating is, I was mad with the Democrats that nominated a thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream. Damn, that's referencing President Biden. A thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream, but the GOP keeps nominating the human version of the I'm a Nigerian prince and I just need money to reclaim my throne. Oh my God. So Biden is a thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream, but as opposed to voting for Trump because he believes that Trump is, I'm a Nigerian prince and I just need money to reclaim my throne. So Trump is like a corrupt pastor that's always asking for money So, as opposed to voting for Trump, he'd rather vote for a thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream. Wow, that is a mouthful. Going back to the box, yikes. Evander McNeil, good afternoon. Vanilla ice cream is delicious. Is Biden really that bad? Damn, a thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream. But folks would rather vote for that. That's weekend at Bernie's, in other words. And before we go to the next caller, and if the box brings him up, Mark Cuban, because folks heard Kevin O'Leary going all over cable news outlets talking about Trump is being railroaded because what New York is doing to him under Letitia James. And, you know, he's from Shark Tank fame. Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary. Well, Mark Cuban, also of Shark Tank fame, stated that he wouldn't vote for Trump if Biden was on his deathbed receiving his last rites. So very similar to what my last guest said, you know, a thawed out tub of vanilla ice cream. Mark Cuban, a former owner of the Dallas Mavericks, stated he wouldn't vote for Trump if Biden was literally on his deathbed about to perish. Wow. And I see the comment, someone stated agreed. Wow, y'all think Trump is really that bad? Oh my God. So what's going to happen come November? Do you think Trump's going to pull it out? I don't know with this crowd. Going to the box, don't know what just happened there, but we're trying to bring up guests, having a bit of an issue. Let's try it with, we'll go to Fuzzard. Don't know if that's I still King in there. Let me see if that works. Biden's not that bad. We could definitely have better, though. Only old guy I'd vote for is Bernie Sanders. Okay, Surreal. Biden's not that bad, but you could do better. You'd go with Bernie. How many of you folks think Bernie Sanders is a better candidate than Biden? Bernie Sanders is older, by the way. Fuzzard, good afternoon.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Trump's got a gag order on him. What do you think? Is that violating his free speech?
You don't think he's going to talk?
He's already doing it.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, and by the way, no, it's not violating free speech. Gag orders happen. That's just part of it. And he's going to continue to talk. He's going to get away with it. It's not going to stop. It doesn't matter until he runs into E. Jean Carroll again.
So if Trump is saying he's the victim of a two-tier justice system, but you're saying he can talk even with a gag order. See, Osby, thanks for the hat and mustache. Sound like you're saying Trump is benefiting from a two-tier justice system.
100% is. Who was it the other day that just went to jail for the things that he's already done? Navi. Can't think of the guy's name right now. Drawing a blank.
You're talking about one of his supporters that refused to answer a subpoena?
Right.
Yeah, he got 4 months. Yeah, you're talking about Peter Navarro. What is his name? Yeah, I know Navarro. Yeah, Navarro.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So he's going to jail already. Me and you wouldn't even be seeing the line of the day.
Yeah. Steve Bannon is probably going to go to jail for the same reason. Why do you think so many people are willing to take a bid for Trump? I mean, it's not a long time in prison, but it is. Didn't Flynn or something? Didn't somebody else go to jail for him too? Why do you think they're willing to take a bid for him? Fellow TikTok, thank you for the head mustache.
Tim, if I knew that answer, that's $1 million. I don't know. There's nothing of quality behind this man. He's very charismatic. He's very energizing. He caters to the hate. He allows the racism to come out. He allows the people that have been silenced for the last 20 years to say, "Oh, our silence is over because human rights are going away." So yeah, that's why they're allowed to say what's on their mind now. Again.
Yeah, but folks believe that Biden is the guy who is expressing sentiments of racism as opposed to Trump. Folks believe that Trump, I got folks telling me that Trump did more for blacks than anybody.
Would you just say?
I got folks suggesting that Trump has done more for blacks than anybody. Some folks have told me he's done more for black people than any president in history.
I would like to see, you could say Abraham Lincoln might have something to say about that, right?
Yeah, and so would Lyndon Johnson. But people do say that, though. Yeah.
Right. Oh no, I hear it all the time. I hear the same rhetoric all the time. I don't know where they're getting that. I'm not sure. Other than his own speeches, he says it a lot. Donald jailed Trump.
But what about the opposite? Like in the comments, Amy says Trump has actually been awful to people of color. Do you see any evidence of that?
I mean, I'm not going to say awful. Okay, is he? Yeah, well, no, I am. I will say, let's talk about, they're sending all the, and we're talking about coming across the border. They're sending all the worst people. They're sending the people that are coming out of jail. They're sending all the rapists. They're sending all, there's no evidence of that. There's not a single bit of it. And you actually bring this point up all the time. There's one,
Murder.
I don't know.
Yeah, one murder. Yeah.
That they tokenize and they bring it up. Where's the other evidence? If every single one of them is doing it, why is there only one that we're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't.
And the father of that woman came out and said, "Stop doing that to my daughter. Stop tokenizing her."
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He came out and spoke against Donald Trump for doing that.
Wow.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, and that is the case though. Is that if you're suggesting that under Biden, 10 million folks came in this country and they're not sitting as their best and brightest, they're sitting rapists and murderers and ex-convicts. It is hard to explain why there's only been one murder or a handful of crimes. There should be rampant crime. It should be like Death Wish with Charles Bronson. That's what it should be, particularly in the border cities. They should be the worst places in the nation to go.
Right, you're not hearing about it in El Paso. You're hearing about the crimes where they're sending them.
Yeah,
Yeah. And when you're sending them to impoverished areas like New York's, in certain areas of New York where it's freezing cold with shorts and a t-shirt, you're going to have some crime to fight that situation.
Well, considering what you and I are talking about, Travis Marsh in the comments says they're hiding shit. Oh my God. In other words, you ain't seeing it because they're hiding it. You think that 10 million folks are committing crimes and they're actually able to hide all of that?
Especially when there's a big microscope on all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is waiting for the next one. Wait, they're going to do another crime. I mean, Fox News is blaming those 6 construction workers for possibly blowing up the bridge.
Oh my God, I don't want to laugh, but is that for real?
Yeah, well, they said, they yesterday they came out and said it was probably because they came across the border.
God.
So, they're just looking for it. OAN, what did they say about it? Oh, OAN wanted to blame Biden for the infrastructure bill. Why didn't they fix that bridge? It's like, really? So they're just looking for anything. But I actually came up here, Tim.
Wow. Go ahead. You just blew my mind with that. They're blaming the construction workers for blowing up the bridge because they're immigrants. Wow. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Wow.
Well, the way I actually came up here for it, because you had asked the question, are you voting against Trump or voting for Biden? First time I voted against Trump.
Okay.
This time I'm voting for Biden. Biden earned another vote. He really did. Everything he has passed, everything he's done for this country, he's earned it. And if you're letting age be the only deterrence, if he was 30 years younger, you'd be voting for him 100%.
Here's where I view Biden. And as opposed to saying if he was 30 years younger, folks would be voting for him, I think if Biden's messaging was better, people would be voting for him even now. Bernie Sanders had great messaging. Bernie Sanders currently he's older than Biden, but he was very old when he was running in 2016 as well. But people clearly knew what he was trying to do, his messaging. He had rallies. I mean, he was talking to the people just like Trump does. Biden has little to no messaging. I mean, that's the problem. Like, folks believe that everything Biden has done since he's been in office has been horrible to America. They don't believe the economy is any better, even though the job numbers and the inflation rates, a lot of shit actually is coming down. But his messaging is so bad, people don't know. And I think that has more to do with why people don't like him than his age. I mean, he should get out and talk to people more.
I agree 100%. There's no doubt about it. The message, and Democrats have been historically horrible at this, but you have, like you were saying, you have Donald Trump, who's phenomenal at messaging. He gets his words out. He has 3 letters. Stop the steal. 3-word things. Something that people are going to remember, you know, and that's what sinks. Make America great again. 4 words. You know, quick little phrases. Yeah. Biden wants his stuff to stand on its own, which it should be able to, but that's not going to work.
Yeah, people are not that focused on politics to Google you and do all their own research. You need to go out and tell the people. As Charlemagne the God, the guy who Biden said, vote for me, you ain't black too, he recently stated that Trump is better at lying than Biden is at telling the truth, because Trump gets out there, whether or not you agree with it, but yeah, he stated that Trump is better at telling lies than Biden is at telling the truth. So I do believe that Biden's biggest issue is the lack of his messaging.
I agree. And you know what? People like me and you need to help him with that. Because you're right. Yeah. He 100%. And you're right about Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders.
He can run. Okay.
yeah. You know who I'm talking about.
You talking about Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. Barry Sanders I like that. But Bernie Sanders, he was very good at it. And he has such, at the time when he was talking about it, were radical ideas. But you know what? They're not that radical. He's very down to earth, and some of the shit he talks about is not bad. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if Biden's messaging, and that's also one reason why a lot of people think Biden has dementia or can't speak, is because he don't do it very often. Even though State of the Union looked like he was pretty much, cognitive to me. He did well in the State of the Union, but there should be a lot more of those. Trump is holding rallies all the damn time. Biden is barely out in public.
I agree. He's got to get out there. He's got to make his voice heard. I don't think it goes in his favor not to debate. I would love to see them both debate. A lot of people say, what's the point? Well, you know what? If you put both of them on stage, Donald Trump has to answer for some things. Yeah. And I don't care what you say. If he has to sit there and answer for him, one, he has to explain to his constituents why he lost the last election. Why did you lose? Never mind everything else that's going on. So make him debate. Make Donald Trump debate, and I think Biden wins it every day.
I'll respond. I got to move it on, but I'll respond to it on the other side. Fuzzer, pleasure talking to you.
Always talking to you.
All right. Now, I've said before in the program, I'm not a big fan of Biden and Trump debating, because unlike my last caller, I don't think it's going to really make a difference. I think there's nothing Biden can say to convince MAGA to vote for him, and there's nothing that Trump can say to convince the anti-Trumpers, because there's not a lot of Biden lovers out there, to vote for Biden. I think it's pretty much cut and dry. Also, one of the reasons some folks want Biden to debate is to show, well, let's make sure you can talk. Let's make sure your cognitive abilities are there. Well, if Biden gets up there and he speaks in a respectable manner, well, then he just swallowed a bunch of Mountain Dews, took no-dos and cocaine. There's no way to win that. Just like some folks said, well, he should take a cognitive test if he's going to get reelected. Would you believe the doctor? You already seen the guy fall down and fall off bikes and stutter. Your mind's made up already. Either you believe Biden is within his faculties or you don't. It's not going to make a difference with the debate. It's not going to change any hearts and minds. And my last caller pointed out, if they debate, Trump has some splaining to do. To quote the statement from I Love Lucy, got some splaining to do. Not going to matter, in my opinion. The folks who support Trump believe he's 100% innocent. The folks who are Trump detractors believe he is 100% guilty. I don't think that would matter either. The folks who support Trump believe all 91 of those charges he originally faced were made up. The Letitia James fraud case is all bullshit. Most real estate moguls do that. And E. Jean Carroll is just trying to get paid. So I don't think there's any explaining necessary, because everybody has their mind made up in this race. Now, perhaps Kennedy, the third party candidate, may be able to change a few hearts and minds, but in my opinion, I think it's kind of over with. I don't think there's hardly anybody out there that is on the fence. Meaning, one reason why is this. The parties are so far apart particularly MAGA, I talked about this all, it's certainly with the abortion debate. The right has went way far to the right. The left with the border has went too far to the left. There's very little middle ground. Now, someone like Kennedy could be in the middle, but he's not talking about any of the most important issues: border, abortion, gun rights. He's talking about vaccines and shit like that. That's not a kitchen table issue for the overwhelming majority of Americans. You know, what would you do about Israel? Do you believe a woman should have a right to choose? He don't even talk about that stuff. So I don't believe Kennedy is in it other than, I don't know, make somewhat of a name for himself. But he's not going to, I don't think Kennedy will come close to winning any state. Even his own family is not big fans of him. Looking in the comments, though, Trump does no wrong. You people have to be kidding. He must be a perfect man. Not, says James Crittenden. Well, fact is, I just had a caller on a little while ago in the program that says Trump was brought to us by God. So there are people who believe Trump really can't do much wrong. I mean, if he was appointed by Jesus, then he is fairly imperfect. And I had a guy tell me that while I was at a Trump rally in line waiting to get in there. There are people who believe that Trump was presented to us by the deity himself. So, yeah, there are people who believe that. Going back to the box. King, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Appreciate you holding there, King, if the box lets you up. The floor is yours, King. Good afternoon.
Why, thank you, sir. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of What the Hell is MAGA Talking About?
What do you mean?
Look, all right, so go back to your first question, because there's so much stuff that I listened to today, including that crazy-ass conspiracy lady who's talking about God brought Trump. God ain't brought Trump. I don't know where the hell these people get off. Y'all all need to actually...
He got a phone call. He wasn't dropped. We'll give him a second. That caller did not drop. I believe he has a phone call. He is still there. We'll give him a second. Are you there?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm still here. I don't know why it didn't. Like, I think that was my GPS or something.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Here.
So you're saying God? You're saying Trump is not a product of God?
Man, hell no.
Why do you
Hell
think?
no.
Why do you think folks feel that way?
Because they are obviously drinking the Kool-Aid that Jim Jones gave them.
Cult members. You believe it's a cult?
Yes, cult members. How else would you say that Trump can do no wrong, that Trump was brought by God? That's a cult, bro. Come on. Even the pastor at the church can do stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Be for real with yourself. He's brought by God, but he doesn't ask for forgiveness. Well, I'm sorry. Didn't God and this is out the Bible, didn't God give us his only son to die at the cross to forgive us for our sins? So how the hell does that match up? A person that does not ask for forgiveness, who's sinning more than anybody you can actually think of, a person who was went through adultery 3 wives. Whether or not you want to be for real with yourself, this dude, whether they want to be for real with themselves, not you, sorry, I have to separate the person, sometimes it's hard. How is it that this man who has been in adultery cases 3 different times, had 3 different wives, his last wife, it was a guy over here the other day who said, oh yeah, well that, Stormy Daniels is a prostitute. No, there's a difference. She's a porn star. How is it that this man who basically, whatever he was doing with her, I don't care if they was having a 5-minute conversation. If he's brought by God, why is he sitting with her? Is he mentoring to her? Did he have the upside down crooked Bible then? Because I don't think that happened. Yeah. I don't believe that happened. I don't believe he had no damn Bible in his hand sitting with Stormy Daniels. Hell, I wouldn't have no damn Bible sitting with Stormy Daniels. So what the hell was the point? Okay, that's bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit about, oh yeah, Trump's this great man. No, Trump is a con artist. He's con MAGA into believing his bullshit.
So let me run it to you this way. And this is an interesting point in regards to Trump and religion. Stefan on YouTube says you don't need religion to say killing babies is wrong. You don't need God to tell you a country without borders is dumb. How do you respond to that?
Okay, well, you're right. I don't need religion to say that killing babies is wrong. You're right about that. But what I don't agree with is 60 old, 25 or 250, how many ever old white guys is in the Senate in the fucking House right now telling that it's not okay for a woman to decide what's going on her own body? Because if you're gonna say anything to do with the Bible, with that aspect of it, then you have to actually think about what God gave us. Number one, he gave us free will. Let's stop there. Conversation over. Hey, free will does not impart that some old dude, free will does not impart that some old guy is going to be able to tell a woman what to do with her body.
Yeah, but you gotta give Trump credit by him rolling back Roe v. Wade. Literally hundreds of thousands of babies that would have been terminated are now being brought to life. Is that not something that he should be celebrating? He's actually saving the lives of babies.
No, because what is he going to do with them? What are you going to do with him? He don't take care of his own damn kids. What are you going to do with the kids that came from these unabortions? Have you seen Barron? Do you see Don Jr.? What about, I don't even remember the other son's name. All I ever see is them on commercials talking about, please give my dad some money. Please give my dad some money so he can stomp the Democrats out. Please give my dad some money. Him, Instagram, Mike Goodell, all of them crying on TV. That's why he's selling the Bibles now. Because he needs some more money. $60 for a Bible? Where you pay that much for a Bible, Tim?
Nowhere.
I mean, I know you atheist.
I'm not atheist, but I'm not very Christian. Well, let me say this though. You mentioned God giving you free will. Mark Pearson, I think it says Pearson on YouTube said, God gave you free will, and you're going to hell for supporting murder.
Well, okay, I'm going to hell, but that's my judgment. That's something I got to pay for with my master, with my father, not with him. And I did damn sure. Then, on top of this, again, I'm just going to go back to this, because every time you say this, I'm going to kick right back at it. Bro, when has it ever been okay for some old person, some old white person, to tell everybody what to do with every woman what to do with their body? It is sounding like an episode of The Handmaid's Tale. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like an episode of The Handmaid's Tale. How else can you say that?
I can't argue with that. I can't.
250 old white guys that say, "Oh yeah, you can't have an abortion," but what y'all gonna do with the kids when they get here? Because they're not offering no services. The Democrats don't, the Republicans don't want to offer any welfare. They want to strict Social Security. They want to do all of this shit to save money, to save $1 bill. But no, don't let them babies. Them babies got to be born. So where's the help coming from? Because obviously, in some of these situations, it is just promiscuous women. I'm not going to say 95%. I'm not going to give a percentage because you don't know. But that is their choice. It's their right to choose. It is their body. Are you going to carry the baby for 9 months? Are you going to nourish it? Are you going to feed it after? Are you going to clothe it after?
But what about responsibility? Hold on. Like Stefan in the comments says, I hate this argument. If you have sex, you might cause a pregnancy. If you create a baby, take care of the little human. It's not that complicated. So he's saying that if you, as opposed to using an abortion for birth control, just be responsible.
I get that, but that is not every woman. And you cannot, just like men, just like the cultures are not a monolith, neither are women. Everybody has their own view. Everybody has their own, that is one of the period point blank things about people in the first place. Black people are not all the same. Yeah. White people are not all the same. If black people so much the same, why the hell we all hate Clarence Thomas so time ass? I can't stand Clarence Thomas. My damn nerves.
All right, I gotta go. All right. You win on the Clarence Thomas. Appreciate you coming in, King.
I'm coming right back at you.
And thanks for holding, by the way. Appreciate it. You too. All right, looking in the comments. Interesting how the potato in the White House is the guy who invented the incarceration industry to protect his investment in ramen noodles. Wow, that's a lot there. You're suggesting that President Biden, who is the potato in the White House, is the guy who invented the incarceration industry to protect his investment in ramen noodles. So Biden is incarcerating everybody because once they're in there, they're going to be fighting over ramen noodles that I assume you're suggesting has stock in. Wow, that's, first of all, 1994, whenever the hell the crime bill came out, mass incarceration was already taking place in this country. I would tell you the war on drugs under the Reagan administration kind of kicked that off. So, you want to say that mass incarceration was all Biden's fault. It goes back before that. The prison industry is the diabetes industry, and diabetes industry is the third most profitable industry in the United States. In the prison, let me just say this real quick too. When we chastise Biden for the crime bill, he didn't do that alone. America's not a dictatorship. One guy doesn't pass law. Where are all the Republicans that were adamant that the crime bill was bullshit, that fought against it? I don't recall, I was around in 94. I don't recall Biden being up there and being viewed as incredibly unpopular. Black people being locked up, they're not growing up to be the best and brightest they can be. They're growing up to be rapists and murderers. And everybody was hating on Biden for making that statement. I don't recall that. I recall Biden getting quite a bit of support for the crime bill. So you can hold Biden accountable, but you got to throw in every damn body else. He didn't do that by himself. Why are we pretending like now in 2024, he somehow did that on his own or is only Democrats? There was a ton of Republican support, including folks like Trump who favored stop and frisk. If Trump had videotapes of him speaking out against it, you would be seeing those all over right-wing media. Just like when Bernie Sanders allowed himself to be arrested protesting for civil rights. You've seen footage, you've seen clips, you've seen proof of that. I don't recall Republicans being against the crime bill. In fact, African Americans, even to this day, when they bring up racism, that shit ended hundreds of years ago. You guys need to get over that. Slavery, nobody's a slave. Nobody ever, even your damn parents weren't slaves. You guys need to get over that. That's what we're always being told. Same thing we were told in the 1990s when he was passing the crime bill, and African Americans were complaining that the system was racist back then. Shit ended hundreds of years ago. Y'all need to get over it. Now we're in 2024, and to stifle Biden's chances of getting reelected, folks are suddenly coming out and saying, when we told y'all back in the 90s, racism ended hundreds of years ago, we actually lied. Biden was being racist as hell. Here's my point on it. If you didn't do anything while he was doing it, don't come and play hero now. If you didn't speak out against this supposed racist crime bill of Biden, if you didn't speak out when he was actually doing this shit, don't come now 30 years later trying to play hero. How many folks spent their whole damn lives behind bars because of the crime bill? Don't come speaking out now because you don't want the guy to get elected. That sounds like a damn witch hunt. That sounds political. Where were you when it was actually being implemented? Where was the Republican Party if it's such a racist damn bill? I'm not defending Biden or the crime bill, but the idea that he did the shit by himself is ridiculous. There's all sorts. Where's Newt Gingrich? Newt Gingrich is around. He was in favor of it. So I don't buy into the notion that Biden and Biden alone should be chastised for the crime bill. I bet you Mitch McConnell was down with the program. Where are any complaints or blame to the other side that supported that shit too? If it's racist, everyone that voted yay should be criticized. Not just Biden. Something's wrong with that. That doesn't sound like you're concerned about racism. It sounds like it's political. A witch hunt. Some of you are familiar with that term. Appreciate the 130,000 likes Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. That's when we're here. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, follow the program, drop a subscription on YouTube. Program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. Thank you for that heart. See you guys tomorrow. For my YouTube viewers, I don't know what happened earlier in the program. The numbers were way down. Appreciate all you folks that tuned in now toward the end of the program. Something with the YouTube's algorithm. If you will, subscribe to the program. Perhaps you will notify you. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central.